In this video, we will go into detail about how to use the walkthrough mode of the presenter available in NovaMind Platinum. You don't need to do anything to your mind map to prepare it for doing a walkthrough presentation. When you want to start your walkthrough presentation, just select the Presenter menu and Start Walkthrough. This will start the presentation in full screen mode. If you want to run your walkthrough presentation in a window instead of full screen, hold down the Option key. The menu item will change to Start Walkthrough in Window. The size of the window will depend on what you have selected in the Windowed Presentation View size. This can be very useful if you want to have other things on the screen at the same time, or if you're on a webinar and want to share the presentation at a certain size, or if you're creating a video from your presentation. When you choose the size of the presentation to be one of the standard sizes, NovaMind will resize the window so that the content area is the specified size, so that if you're recording the presentation for a video, you can crop it to that size and see just the content without the window title bar. Once you're in walkthrough presentation, you can click on the gear icon at the bottom left of the window to change the options used for the presentation. The first three options are connected, so you can select the one that you want. Don't expand subtopics, expand one topic level, or expand two topic levels. This controls how many levels of subtopics you expand when you visit a topic. If you choose the Don't Expand Subtopics option, the only topics shown will be those that are shown when you start the walkthrough, or any that you manually expand. This is useful if you want to set up exactly which topics you want to present before the presentation and not have any other topics automatically expanded during your walkthrough. Using this option also disables the auto collapse option, since the idea is to just show exactly what you had showing when you started the presentation. The next option is Visit All Topics. If this is turned on and you're navigating through the walkthrough normally, each of the subtopics will be highlighted in turn before going on to the next topic. This can be useful if you treat your mind map like a list where you want to go through all of the items and highlight and talk about each one in turn. If you have this option turned off, when you get to a topic which only has one level of subtopics, those subtopics will not be visited individually. If you think of it more as a topic, with subtopics being reminders as to the meaning of the topic, then you might like to leave this option turned off. And finally, Auto Collapse Topics. If this option is turned on, the topics that are not being presented at the time are collapsed. This is useful if you want to concentrate on that part of the mind map without being distracted by everything else. If this option is off, any topics that are expanded will not be collapsed again. This can be useful for progressive revelation of information. When you change any of these settings, they will be remembered in your preferences and used the next time that you do a walkthrough presentation. While you're in the presenter, you can exit the presenter, no matter which mode you're in, by pressing the Escape key or Q key on the keyboard or Command period. You could also choose the End Presentation option from the menu if you're not running in full screen, or select the option to exit the presentation from the Presentation Mode pop-up. If you need help or want to be reminded of the shortcut keys during your presentation, you can press the question mark or / key to show the help. Press any key to close the help screen. To go to the next topic in your walkthrough, if you're using a keyboard, you can press the spacebar, return, N, Enter, or Page Down. There's also a menu option under the Presentation Control menu, so you can assign a keyboard shortcut to that if you like, using the System Preferences. Using a mouse or trackpad, you can click on the right arrow button on the controls. Using the Apple Remote, you can click the Play/Pause button. When you use any of these options, it will take you to the next topic in logical order, visiting and highlighting the appropriate topics. If you have the Visit All Topics option turned on, this will mean that the leaf topics will be visited while keeping the parent topic in view. You should be aware that you cannot use the right arrow to go to the next topic in the walkthrough, since it uses the normal logic for selecting topics as if you were not in a walkthrough. To go to the previous topic in your walkthrough, if you are using the keyboard, press P or Page Up. There is also a menu option under the Presentation Control menu so that you can assign a keyboard shortcut to that if you like using the system preferences. Using a mouse or trackpad, you can click on the left button on the controls. Again, you should be aware that you cannot use the left arrow to go to the previous topic in the walkthrough, since that uses the normal logic for selecting topics as if you were not in a walkthrough. You can use the arrow keys on the keyboard to navigate to the next topic in that physical direction, just the same as when you're not in a presentation. The only difference is that it will automatically expand and collapse subtopics as required to show the subtopics, unless you have set it to not expand subtopics. If you're using the Apple remote, then the plus, forward, minus, and rewind buttons act as if they were the arrow keys. You can also click on any topic to select it. In the walkthrough mode, there can only be one topic selected at a time. If you have multiple mind maps in your document, you can go to the next mind map by using the close parentheses or square brackets key. If you're using an Apple remote, you can press and hold the right arrow fast forward button to switch to the next mind map. You can switch to the previous one using the open parentheses or open square brackets key, and if you're using the Apple remote, you can press and hold the rewind button to go back to the previous mind map. If a topic has notes on it, you can show the notes by selecting that topic and pressing T or clicking the notes indicator. To hide the notes, click outside the area where the note is displayed or type any key. NovaMind makes the notes text bigger so that it's readable on a presentation, and you probably don't want to have long notes, but if the note is too long, you can scroll it, and you can also use the mouse or trackpad to select text and highlight it. To hide the notes, click outside the area where the note is displayed or type any key. During your presentation, you can draw on the screen by clicking and dragging using a mouse or trackpad. This can be useful for highlighting areas of interest or things that you're talking about at the time. The first line you draw is red, and then different colors are used for the other lines you draw so that you can refer to the lines by color if you like. Lines are removed when you move from one topic in the walkthrough presentation to another, and you can remove the last drawn line by pressing either the delete or backspace key. If you want to remove all of the lines without going to another topic, press the C key. The lines you draw during the presentation are just temporary and are not stored in your document at all. If you're in the middle of a presentation and want to stop and hide the mind map so as not to distract people, you can cover the presentation with a white screen or black screen. To cover with white, press W, or to cover with black, press B. To return to the presentation, just click anywhere or press any key. Although the scroll bars are hidden while presenting, if you have a trackpad, you can still scroll using a two-finger swipe. You can also pan by pressing and holding the spacebar while clicking and dragging with the mouse. There is a slider along with the presentation controls which allows you to zoom in or out, and you can use pinch zooming if you have a trackpad. If you're using an Apple remote, you can press and hold the plus button to zoom in or press and hold the minus button to zoom out. When you select different topics, the topics are expanded and collapsed as per the walkthrough configuration, but if you do need to expand and contract subtopics manually, the controls are still enabled. If you have auto collapse turned on, when you select a different topic, the expansion status of the topics will be set automatically again. The hyperlink and attachment controls are active, so you can click them. The required application will be opened to show the link or file, and if you're using macOS 10.7 or later and running the presentation in full screen mode, it will switch you out of the space that is used to do the presentation, but when you go back to NovaMind, it will be there as it was before. If you're in the middle of a walkthrough presentation and want to edit your mind map, you can switch to edit mode and edit your mind map to suit, and then switch back to walkthrough mode and continue your walkthrough. You can also switch to slide presentation mode if you've defined slides, and then switch back to walkthrough mode when you want to. So that's pretty much everything that's in the walkthrough mode of the presenter. It's very simple to use, but it has a lot of power there when you need it.